Hi friends, welcome to our Sunshine Kitchen, Sunshine Foods. My name is Joy Fido and today I've got something really exciting for you as always, so welcome on board. Okay, so what have I got for you today? We did promise you there's going to be a lot of cooking on this trip that we came for, and so far it's just been flowing. So today is Egusi soup with bitter leaf. Bitter leaf is one of those leaves that's really underrated in Nigeria. And you know, when we're so excited about sunshine foods from Africa, foods from Nigeria, there is so much in that country that it's endless. And sometimes what we tend to do is we just stick to the one thing and forget that the other ones exist. There's so many leaves we're going to be showing you on this channel. Bitter leaf is just one of them. And just go and Google benefits of bitter leaf. You're going to find it's got so much for you health-wise. So that's why we chose to show you bitter leaf today. So bitter leaf and egusi is what it is. And I'll show you our bitter leaf. Okay, so two things that are completely brand new to our ingredients today. I'll show you those things and then I'll show you what are the main ingredients for this soup. So the main ingredient number one is the bitter leaf. We said egusi with bitter leaf, so that's bitter leaf. Unfortunately, being that we're here in Europe, we don't have the fresh leaf of it for you to see, but you can always Google bitter leaf and click on images and you see what they look like when they're on the ground. Next big thing is stockfish. Stockfish we really wanted to bring in our video for you to see, because it's just one of those fishes back home that it's so I'll say highly valued. Now the thing with stockfish is just fish that's really dried. If you've heard about this dehydration process where most things are dried, things like beans are dehydrated, rice I really can't say for sure, but most things are dehydrated, so they become dry and they become safe. So I normally say three ways you can eat: either the food has been dried, or is fresh, or is frozen. And so this is dried. Now the way you prepare this is one of the big things we're going to be showing you today. Stockfish is really dried. Again, just like any fish, it brings its own benefits. Great things you can get out of fish is what you get out of stockfish. And so the next big thing for our soup now is the egusi itself. So egusi, we've done egusi video before, and I think in that video it was just all about meat. So today we're changing some ingredients, and so egusi is one of the main one, but it's something we've done before. So the new thing, like we said, is the stockfish, the bitter leaf, and the next new thing that's coming in this video is fish. So the next thing here is the fresh fish, frozen fish. And we just wanted to make it really interesting by getting really good sized fish. So a good stockfish, bitter leaf and fresh fish are really the best of friends, because bitter leaf has a hint of bitterness and fresh fish prefers something that's a bit bitter to enhance its taste. So that's why the main focus was really fresh fish and that bitter leaf, and then of course everything else was just to make it exciting and appetizing and wonderful. So fresh fish is here, frozen fish. We're going to defrost it, we're going to descale it, and then we're going to prepare the stockfish for you to see how it's done. The other ingredients, which are now optional, is just the mixed meat. So this is the tripe, or the shaki we call it, and this is the cow foot it's called. So this is just again to enhance the taste, not necessarily an important part of it. So that is going to go in. So can you imagine how heavy this soup is already with protein? And so the next things are skull bonnet. Now once you're cooking fresh fish, you need a lot of scotch bonnet because you want it to spice it up and make it really tasty and I mean eating. Otherwise, especially for us Africans or Nigerians in particular, we really can't eat something when there's no spice or heat in it. So that pepper makes it really tasty. So the next thing will be the onions, the garlic, the seasoning, and then of course the spices to make the food taste really nice. Rosemary is one of our favorites, and that's it. So we're gonna show you how we get the stockfish ready now. Okay, so you wash your stockfish. This is just to take away the dust from it because remember this is something that's dried and it just sits there in the shop. Besides that, remember this stockfish, they're very expensive, really expensive. Just needed to bring that to your attention. Anyway, so you wash it really well, take away all the dust, and then we kind of put it in the pressure pot. And why I'm saying that is if you do not have pressure pot, which is what we did back home, you just soak this stockfish in hot water. What they do, they just boil hot water and drop the stockfish in the hot water. Sometimes you can soak it for like 2 nights if possible. And what happens is the hot water softens it. Remember we said it's fully dehydrated. So there's no amount of moisture in it at all. And so it's all washed and it's in the pressure pot. We tend to work with pressure pot a lot because it really does help. So we've got all our bits and bobs, onions, seasoning, what's this, scotch bonnet, garlic, and it's all going in there, and we just blend that together. Just a little bit of water. We'll blend it. Okay, so you add water. Remember, you're using pressure cooker and stockfish is very dry, so it needs to soak up a lot of the water. So put as much water as you can. We'll just put that. What will happen is we'll check it. If we're not happy with the softness, we may add more water. So that is going to be blended and we're going to add it in there. Okay, so we're going to just add the meat to the stockfish so as it helps us get this equally soft for the cooking. Now we're going to blend all that ingredients we put together, pepper, onions, garlic, and then we're going to pour that into the sauce, into the pot, and pressurize it and cook it. Okay, so you finish blending and you just pour it in. And that's it. We're going to cover this and start steaming. Okay, so now I'm cleaning the fish to get it ready. Most times when you're buying fish, they actually descale it for you. In our case, I think we probably didn't really care. We just wanted to get the fish and get out. So make sure you defrost it, because if it's not defrosted, you won't be able to see that. And these are all the scale. They are really, when the fish is really big, the scale is big. See that? So when it's defrosted, take your time and just kind of like pick them one at a time. But most times, if it hasn't been cut, then you don't want to really push all of them in the wrong direction, opposite direction. And that's how the scale falls off. But I kind of prefer when it's cut because it's easier to just pick them one at a time. So that's the fish steaming now. We've just put the usual things, spices, herbs, seasoning, Maggi, garlic, and just poured on it. Allow it to steam. Okay, so remember what Egusi is. This is what we bought it as. It says whole Egusi. That's exactly the same thing as melon seeds. We explained it in one of the videos earlier, and people were surprised. It's just melon seeds, which is used in different ways by different people. But we use it to make our soup or sauce. So what I put in here is 3 bags of those little things I showed you. And you wash it. So I put it in one of these. and I washed it so the water drains out immediately while cleaning the egusi. Why? Because most times when you see egusi back home, it's just done in the open, and then they just pile it there, and then the dust comes and everything happens to it. So sometimes you hear the machine made and the handmade because they unpeel it, and the process may not be that clean. So it's important you wash it unless you actually did the unpeeling yourself or the peeling. So once you've got it all washed, you put it in the blender. Still messy bits. Oh, I'll wash a bit more, picking through whatever I find I don't like. Now I just use that blender to blend other things, so I'm just using the same blender. It doesn't need to be washed. Okay, so we've got the egusi in the blender. Then we add all the other ingredients. Onions goes in, garlic goes in, a few spices or herbs goes in. As usual, just to give it taste. Taste is important in the food we cook. And it's all natural based taste. Onions, scotch bonnet, 3 garlic, 3 big ones. Because we have garlic in everything else we've done there. With just a little bit of rosemary. And just a little bit of basil. Now sometimes you might see the already blended egusi. You can buy it if it makes life easy for you, but people stay away from it because sometimes you don't know what they've mixed and ground. They call it ground egusi. So you don't know what they've ground in there to create that. There are dodgy people out there who will do anything for money. So they might just put whatever in there and you don't know. So that's why people prefer the whole egusi, so you can actually see what you're going to use to cook. So we put that together. So we're going to put water in here now. So you allow good size water because this is going to be part of what you'll be cooking. You're going to cook it out from the sauce. So water in there. That was water in there already. So we just close it and then we blend. Okay, so you got your palm oil ready. Remember we're cooking egusi. One of the things that go with it is palm oil. Shake. And then you pour in your empty pot. So you put good size depending on the amount of egusi you're going to be working with. And then you just pour your egusi into it. Once the egusi is in it, you stir. So you're kind of like frying the egusi. So now you allow this to cook. Remember we added water when we were blending it, so now you align that water to kind of like boil off so that you have your egusi in there ready to do things you want to do with it. So you stir and just allow it to cook. Okay, so after about 5, I'll call it 2 minutes, open your pot, stir. Now the beauty of this particular pot I'm using is it's non-stick, so it's not sticking. Most pots will stick egusi, so if you can get like a non-stick pot, it will help. So again, just stir, stir, stir. Allow the water to still boil out a bit more before we start introducing our other ingredients. So what I'm gonna do now, this stockfish took us quite a bit of time to really get it right. Sometimes you might get some that are a bit soft, that doesn't take too much to cook, and some that are really difficult. Took us about an hour, 30 minutes, about that. Another trick to stockfish too, if you want to save yourself time, is breaking into smaller pieces before you start your soaking or steaming, as we were doing with the pressure cooker. So I'm just adding this to the egusi now, just for it to start picking the taste of the egusi. I'm not going to use the liquid yet, or the sauce that came out of it. I'm still trying to dry my egusi to really dry before I start adding other things. So you stir this in. What you find with stockfish is you don't need too much to cook at a time, because what happens as they soak the water, they become, fuller and bigger. So a tiny piece of stockfish might just be okay if you don't want to put too much in your soup. Because remember, it's dry, so it starts to soak the water, which is the science of food I keep talking about. Just think of what it is. Just like how beans soaks the water, stockfish soaks the water, rice soaks the water. That's what's happening here. It starts to grow as it absorbs the water. So we've added it in there now to join in with the seasoning. So I'm going to add some seasoning in here to start making it pick up the taste quicker. And then I'll stir all that in. The good thing with stockfish is it doesn't break easily in soup, so you have nothing to worry about. It's not like fresh fish that will start dropping little bits all over the place. Now I'll bring all the meat, but I'm not really trying to put the sauce in with just the meat itself. And then stir that in as well. So it all connects and starts to soak in the egusi itself as well. Now typically, especially with that stockfish and the fresh fish we're going to put in there, this is like a rich man's food. Stockfish is very expensive, but yes, it's good to sometimes put the best in your body. So now all of them need to cook together and blend in nicely. Give it 5 minutes before you stir again. Okay, so now you can see how it's drying out. Now it's up to you how thick you want this to be. If you want it to be really thick, you can cook some more, because the more you cook, the drier it becomes, the water starts to evaporate. But if you don't want that, you just want to feel a bit of soup to play with, you can now add whatever else needs to be added in. And in our case, we got the fish. So now fresh fish is something that breaks easily in soup. So when you add it, you're not planning on stirring this food again. you just put it in slowly, one at a time. And let the soup touch it so it starts to simmer. I'll reduce the heat by this stage just so that this fish can blend in nicely. You remember we really seasoned the fish really well when we steamed it. So fish is really done, but you just want it to pick up the taste of the egusi. Skin is not breaking. So you just be aware where you have your fish when you're stirring. You don't poke your spoon in it. And so the heat is lowered, and I'll just let it simmer so the fish picks up the taste of the egusi. And once that's done, the next is the bitter leaf, and that's our soup done. So by this time you're preparing what else you want to eat with it. So many choices. You could eat it with pounded yam, you could eat it with gari, you can eat it with rice. Some people eat their sauce with rice. Semovita, semolina, just you name it. Typically back home they say your swallow. What swallow do you want? So your swallow could be up to you. But now that's your lovely beautiful sauce simmering away, and I'll cover it and give you another nice 3 minutes for the fish to take the taste of the sauce. Okay guys, look at our beautiful soup or sauce, depending on what you want to call it, ready now for us to introduce our bitter leaf. Remember one time the other egusi we did was with spinach, so now this is bitter leaf. Like I said in the intro, there's so many other types of leaves that we're going to be bringing, and all it does is just adds a bit of color again to the, you can see the yellowness of the egusi. And now it's gone slightly green. So you put it in and you just allow it to break down into the soup. This particular one we bought was frozen. Sometimes you get them dried, like same thing we're saying about dehydration. There's also something we call a kazi leaf, which most times you also see dry, because when it involves transportation and moving it around, dry is just the easier way. But luckily we got this one frozen. And then there's ugu leaf. There's just so many types of leaves. There's a dikai corn, which is a mixture of the leaves. There's afang, again another mix. African soup or Nigerian soup is just so much, it's endless. So just stay tuned with us and you're going to be seeing a variety of these things. I mean, it's just one of those things we were talking about. We are just lucky to have such tradition, because other people, there's just a few foods you can name. Especially here in England, most times it's just fish and chips. That's it. But for us, the choices are endless. Look at that. So now remember when you had your fish, and try not to break into them. Okay, so once you've tried your best to stir it in nicely like that, I say give it like a minute to just blend into your sauce, and then that's it, because these leaves are already done anyway. You know, when you eat salads and all that, you just know that you don't want leaves to overcook. Okay, look at the beauty that this soup is. It's ready to serve. So now we're going to just prepare the things that we're going to eat with it, and then we're going to serve it. Okay, so there you have it. It's all dished out now, ready to eat. Everyone's really excited. They just want to get on with it. So the sooner I finish, the better for everybody. Anyway, so here is the pounded yam, and I played with it. I had to think of something to just make it different. This is just carrot. My idea of being creative. You can do anything you like with it to give it that color. I ran out of things to play with. I could have put a leaf, I could have put anything. But that's the pounded yam there with the soup just surrounding it. So when we eat this, any number of people can eat it. Dish a bit of the sauce, dish a bit of the pounded yam, start eating. Here we have Gary. Gary is here and the sauce is here. And if you look where, you can see the fish sitting there really well. That's the fish. That's the Shakio tribe. That's the cow food. What else do we have? The stuffed fish is just all over the place in the plate. And here is with rice. So again, you have people who want to eat their sauce with rice, and so that's the rice right there, and that's the sauce. Like we said, so many things can be eaten with this. Could have been semovita, semolina. There's apu, which is cassava. So many things. Amala. Again, all the swallows in Nigeria could be eaten with this soup. One of my favorite soup, but that's bitter leaf with egusi, stuffed fish, fresh fish, pomo, well, not pomo, cow food, and tripe. Everything put in one. So I hope this has inspired you to start cooking. We'd like to hear from you. Show us pictures of what you've done and how it came out for you. Tell us how it tasted for you. We'd like to hear from you. Just send us your messages like you've been doing. Tell us any other kind of soup that you like to know how to prepare. We'll be here to share them with you. We look forward to seeing you in our next video. Remember to like this video, give us a thumbs up, put that notification bell so whenever we do any video, you get them straight on. Follow us on all our various social media. Sunshine Foods got his own Instagram page. We're going to put these pictures there. And then he also comes up on Joy Fido on Facebook. So we look forward to seeing you, and as always, stay blessed. And we pray God to graciously, abundantly continue to give you what your heart desires.